Hey, my name is Michael, and I'm a facilitator for Move the World. And Move the World is a charity organization based in London and also has a branch in Ghana, precisely in Media at the DMC. And uh, we run these charity programs and we facilitate in different schools and we work with kids about the sustainable development goals. And since you are a member of Movement Exchange, I actually would like you to tell us a little bit about yourself and with your organization.
Cool. So, hi, I'm Dana Vanderburgh. I'm the Executive Director of Movement Exchange, also a longtime friend of the DMC and Move the World. So I'm really happy to be being interviewed. So Movement Exchange is a 501c3 nonprofit that is based out of the United States. And we have university chapters all across the US, and then we have year-round programming in Panama. And our mission is to unite dance and service and to provide dance education to particularly youth, but communities that don't typically have access to dance education. So our mission is to both cultivate civically engaged dancers who are active in their communities, but also to ensure that dance education is accessible to all. And so we do that through the university chapters that give dance classes for free for different organizations that are surrounding their university community. So they partner with things like Boys and Girls Club, domestic violence shelters, refugee agencies, sometimes kids whose parents are incarcerated. Some work with adults in nursing homes. We have different chapters that work with kids and adults with different physical and developmental disabilities. And so they do that work throughout the year during their university, semesters. And then we have year-round programming in Panama, which is run by and staffed by Panamanian dance instructors. And they provide dance education with several different youth organizations that we've been working with for about 11 years. And so these are a mix of orphanages, kind of after-school programs, and other types of programs for youth that don't often have the opportunity to engage in, dance education programs. And so they get weekly dance education from us. And then we also have international dance exchanges where our university chapter members and then any other interested person, dancer, mover, gets to come and teach dance to our students in our programming, but then also take classes from our instructors. So that's MoveX.
Oh, that is amazing. It's actually mind-blowing. What does it mean to be a global citizen? A global citizen.
For Movement Exchange, to be a global citizen, I think means to recognize that you have the ability within your own self, within your own body in particular, when you're thinking of dance, that you can connect with others, you can build relationships with others, you can make a difference in your community. And that you don't need to have the same backgrounds, even the same language, and that, we have that capacity already within ourselves to be that global citizen, that person who is connected with others, who is able to be empathetic, who is able to build positive relationships, and also to be their authentic self. I think that's the beauty of Movement Exchanges. We're asking people to come and bring what they're passionate about, which is dance, and what they have skills in, and that you can be a global citizen and be a dancer. You can do both, and you need to do both, and that dancers are already, perfectly have the perfect tools to become global citizens, because they're able to connect and move with others. And so that's what that kind of means from our perspective.
I kind of reflect with the aspect and dance, because it's also one key way to communicate to the rest of the world. We have different ways of communicating, but sometimes through music, sometimes through dance. So I kind of get the angle where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the sustainable development goals.
Yep.
So in regards to the sustainable development goals, which one do you feel it's very impactful?
Um, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of them. I have my list pulled up right here, my little
Wow,
cheat sheet. I mean, I
nice.
think one, good health and well-being in the sense that, being able to dance is a big part
Mhm.
of being able to be a healthy, fulfilled individual, right? I mean, both we know that dance provides exercise, but also that that sense of well-being, right? That sense of being able to accomplish things with your body. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think also in many ways, the idea of quality education, I know that the SDG goal is predominantly focused on, sorry, my puppy just grabbed something off the floor. Um, that, it's focused on academic education, but I think it's important to include dance education. I think we see in a lot of academic programs, things like dance and
Right.
other artistic activities get cut. And
Uh-huh.
so that's an important gap that needs to be addressed within education. We can't
Mm-hmm.
just say that education is learning from books. It's not. Um,
Yeah.
I think also, peace and justice in terms of, building institutions that are focused on peace and justice, because for
Right.
us, it's really, we are not naive. We don't say that, dance is going to change the world and, just get rid of all of the conflict that exists, right? That would be wonderful if it was true. But we really do believe that engaging with others through dance and building those connections and being able to connect with others and realize that you're able to do that um, is a really important first step in generating those conversations that we need to address problems, that we need to
Right.
address, larger kind of issues of systemic conflict, impacts of
Mm-hmm.
colonialism, impacts of inequitable access to resources within a given community. And so,
Right.
having that, maybe that's a good place to start, right? It's a good place to generate those conversations that then can lead to the development and the building of, stronger institutions and programs and movements towards peace and justice throughout.
Amazing.
Let's see,
Amazing.
what else? I mean, I think those are probably some of the main ones. But in
Mm-hmm.
many ways, I think it touches on a lot of them. I mean, the other thing too is, this is a type of program that doesn't require a lot of resources. And if you're thinking of
Yeah.
sustainability, it's your body. You don't even need music. It's great to have music to dance to, but you don't need it to do creative things with your body and, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we like to see it as, it's a really easy way to begin building those really important relationships that enable us to then have better conversations and actually, address, really challenging issues. Um,
Uh-huh.
and, we see that with our students, both in the US and in Panama, and our dance diplomats,
Right.
who've been dancing with us for a long time. And, we see them become community leaders. We see them become educators. We see them become, people who are global citizens. And, it's not just movement exchange, but I think that lens of recognizing what you can do with your passions and talents and skills really kind of unlocks that sort of door.
Exactly. Exactly. So talking of movement exchange, how did you get involved in movement exchange in your organization?
Yeah, so I was introduced to movement exchange as an undergraduate student when I was at Indiana University. I'm still there in graduate school, but as an undergrad, um, there was a university chapter there, and I just, had to stop a professional ballet trajectory, course of study and my plan on being a professional ballerina because of injuries. But then I was introduced to movement exchange through a chance encounter with a friend, and I realized that, hey, I can keep dance in my life and in a way that actually had a lot of meaning, and things that I was really passionate about already, which was,
Right.
engaging with youth, engaging in community. And so I got involved just as a volunteer, and then I started, providing different types of admin services here and there, and just stayed involved, heavily involved over the past several years. And when they were looking for an executive director, it felt like a new executive director. It felt like the right time. So movement exchange has been a
Mm.
part of my life now for 6 years, going on 7. So
Wow.
it's really neat to have kind of been at very different stages of the organization and different roles. And now my favorite part about my job being in the admin side now is that I get to have those conversations with all those different people. And I recognize myself, that young college student or that dancer who is just starting to realize that dance is so much more than just a studio. And
Right.
I love it.
Yeah, that really also helps bring the impact that you actually have for your community and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really great experience. Yeah. So what makes you passionate about what you do within the organization?
Oh, can you say that one more time? You cut out for a sec.
What makes you passionate about what you do in your organization?
I mean, kind of like what I just said, I'm passionate about getting to watch people both explore their own abilities to engage with their communities through dance. I love getting to see how our students in all of our programs are able to experience and, become more creative, more expressive individuals through dance, and see how dance changes their lives. And I mean, that's just what drives me every day is, being able to work for an organization that really believes that dance can make a difference and that dance is important. And I feel more like a dancer now than I ever did when I was in the studio every single day, because I understand what dance does and I understand why dance is important and why we need
Right.
to keep advocating for it. So that's why I love to do what I do.
Yeah. I mean, that is absolutely right. I mean, at my side, I mean, I kind of feel a good work done anytime I see kids very happy
Yeah.
about what we are telling
Mm-hmm.
them and what we are trying to let them understand. It
Mm-hmm.
makes me feel like I'm actually creating an impact,
Yeah.
and as well as my organization. And with your
Mm-hmm.
organization, it's kind of like similar. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
we
No,
are all
very
creating
similar.
impacts.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So creating of impacts, how do you see Move the World and your organization collaborating?
I mean, I think it's really neat to see that the way that you are teaching students to be global citizens, you have an emphasis, a lot of your activities have a lot of emphasis on movement. I mean, I know that your founders have a background in dance and that's where they came from. So it's not surprising that so many of your activities involve creativity, involve art, involve movement. Um,
Right.
and so I think there's a very similar philosophy that both of our
Mhm.
organizations have in terms of what it means to be a global citizen and what are the different ways that we can cultivate that with youth. And so to me that's where I see our organizations overlapping. And who knows what that will look like in the future once travel is allowed to resume because
Right.
right now it's kind of hard to plan.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. But I hope one day in the future, movement exchange and move the world can come
Me
together and create
too.
something huge for the
Me
whole
too.
world. That would be an amazing impact.
It will be.
Yeah. So not of your time, do you have any advice for young kids like us that are trying to create change, to bring positive change in the
Yeah.
world? What advice do you have for maybe somebody sitting behind watching us? What advice do you have for that person to maybe think of being like us in the future?
Yeah. My advice is to find what you're passionate about and be passionate about it and use that to make a difference. If you like to dance, think about how you can make a difference through dance. If you like to cook, how can you make a difference through cooking? If you love football, if you love creative visual art, if you love singing, if you love science, if you love math, think about what you're passionate about. You don't need to become somebody different to make a difference, right? I think we all think that change happens, when you have to be someone working for the UN or become a politician. Maybe that is what you want to do, but also just do what you love and be passionate about it and share that with other people. And then I think you'll find that you'll be able to make a difference. because you're being true to yourself, and you know, there's something special about everything that we do. So that's my advice.
That's great advice. Well, I'd like to thank you for the time you have for Move the World, and also with this interview. Actually, like we also have an organization out there that is doing similar thing, creating impacts.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your time and all of that.
Well,
so thank you very much.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Michael Wilma. I really appreciate it. And it's been amazing to see all the work that Move the World has done over the past several years. And I feel really lucky that I've been able to experience it firsthand and, you know, help out a little bit. And, you know, that inspires me in the work that I do too. So,
right.
Thank you.
Thank you too.